Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Hinduism, the Way of Life. Talk at Westminster, J. Lakhani, Hindu Academy. So this is a request, if you have a request, please leave the title of the video, the channel name, and the length. You can leave the link, but the link, if you leave a comment with a link, it might be put on held for review, and YouTube does that automatically. I have no control over that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I do believe Hinduism to be a way of life. A way of life.
Mr. Jay Lakhani is the director of Hindu Academy and Hindu Council UK in London.
No CC bottom.
He studied theoretical physics at Imperial and King's Colleges in London, specializing in quantum mechanics. Since retirement about 25 years ago, and has been involved in teaching Hinduism for PGCE courses at several universities, including Oxford and Canterbury, Christchurch. He was a director of Religious Education Council of England and Wales for 7 years. For the past 8 years, he has been the Hindu lecturer at Eton College, offering Hindu input in mainstream media like BBC and through social media as well. Mr. Lakhani is the director of Hindu Academy and Hindu Council UK and promotes a philosophic version of Hinduism that is non-sectarian. The two key themes that he focuses on are religious pluralism and spiritual humanism. Over to Mr. Lakhani.
Thank you. First of all, let me thank Niti ji for inviting me, and perhaps more importantly, her husband Rahul ji for making sure I come here. Now you see, for a person like me, it is such an interesting platform to speak from, because this is the mother of social democracy. So it's a very important platform. And I come from a nation that has always promoted spiritual democracy. So it's a wonderful opportunity for me to try and see if I can merge social democracy with ideas of spiritual democracy that we come from. Now you see, my presentation is as follows, very straightforward. In fact, our representative from High Commission has already highlighted what I'm going to talk about. I'm inspired by Swami Vivekananda, who in 1893 went to United States, the first ever parliament of religion, and made a major impact regarding the role and relevance of Hinduism on the world stage. And I'm a little tiddler, kind of empty tin can rattling, in his particular, frame, and trying to present the same ideas. Now, the most important thing that we must recognize regarding our tradition is as follows. Many people think we are a polytheist tradition, believe in lots of gods and goddesses, because you go in a temple, you got Shiva and you got Vishnu and oh God, so many colorful gods and goddesses. So the first impression anybody will have is that we are a polytheist enterprise, believe in lots of ultimate realities. Now this is a contradiction in term. You can't have more than one ultimate, otherwise it's not ultimate enough, something is missing. We have never been a polytheist tradition despite appearances. We have always been a very mature, a very grand, a very ancient, pluralistic tradition. And this is a very powerful term, because what pluralism says is as follows. It says different individuals, different social groups will make spiritual progress suited to their own background, their temperament, etc. Allow for it, don't snuff anybody out. Everybody is unfolding spiritually in the mode that suits their own background and their temperament. Allow for it. So not many ways to become spiritual. Not many gods, but many ways to become spiritual. It's a central teaching of this tradition that I come from. It's a very powerful thought. I tell you how vast this idea is and why it is so crucial in the world that we live in. In fact, the word religious pluralism was introduced by me in the Religious Education Council to become part of the RE curriculum in this country. So I made sure it enters the system. So what is this pluralism all about? You see, we hear sometimes like the word saying, you must learn to tolerate people of other religions. Hindus say, no, this is a concessionary title, means I give you permission to exist, not good enough. Or should we say, oh, we must respect people of other religion? It sounds so rounded and so diplomatic and so English. Learn to respect people of other religion. Hindus say, no, not good enough still. When I ask the Hindu community, I say, look, this nation has welcomed you, allowed you to prosper, do so well. What have you given them in return? And the answer I get is curries. And of course, then there's a chain of chemist shops. I say, wonderful. We are quite aware that the Hindu community has been a major contributor toward the wealth of this nation. Very successful, very upright, and with extremely good reputation. Tremendous professionalism is visible in the Hindu community here. The other feature that we have, which is very visible, is that the Hindus are automatically easy, for example, for them to integrate with people of other religion as well as no religion. You will not find any skirmishes with any Hindu in any profession in the United Kingdom. It's incredibly well. We just merge so easily, so well. It's not that we lose our identity, but we are prepared to integrate with people of other religion as well as people of no religion. We have no difficulty. Now again, why are we like this? I give the answer. That's what I was talking about when Bob came in. Our tradition has always been, this is the mother of social democracy, no doubt. We come from a nation which is, we can say we are the mother of spiritual democracy. We've always been like that. That's why we welcome people of other traditions, other religions to come and live with us for thousands of years without persecuting them, without trying to convert them. This is the challenge. No other nation has done what we have done. This is our background. We are pluralistic by nature. We recognize that different individuals, different communities, can in a way, promoted by different prophets, will progress spiritually in the mode that suits their own temperament and their own background. This is the central feature of our tradition. And why is it so important? That's what Bob just brought out. If you wish to reduce friction in the name of religion, then listen to this central feature of our tradition, pluralism. Not that one pathway is better than the other. The pathway that suits you, suits your own temperament, go for it. We allow for this. So the Hindus doesn't say, oh, we learn to tolerate people of other religion. That's a concessionary title. We don't even say we like to respect people of other religion. That's pure British diplomacy. Because in the heart of heart, they might think, I'm right, he's wrong, but I won't make a fuss. He'll find out in the hereafter. Now, this is not right. The Hindus come with a different message, say, no, we recognize different prophets have promoted different pathways for making spiritual progress. We allow, we accept. This is a golden word that comes out of our tradition. Why is it so crucial? Look, I've been in the Religious Education Council for 7 years. I've been pushing this agenda saying, make sure the youngsters in this country become aware of this word pluralism. Different human beings unfold spiritually in the mode that suits their own temperament, allow for it. Not that one is better than the other. And when I go to some of the top theological colleges like Canterbury Christ Church, the theologians say, we like this idea, Mr. Lakhani, you're very colorful with this jacket and all that. But, we've got an issue with you here. We don't agree with pluralism.
And there, I was gonna wait, but that's the thing, is the fact that while we may accept other people's cultures and accept their beliefs and stuff, the problem is whether they accept your belief in terms of you accept theirs and they accept yours. More than likely, you'll accept theirs, but they won't accept yours, and you invite them into your country. That is diversity, because diversity does not mean just different colored skins or different colored hair or different colored whatever. It's also the thought process, the belief. That's diversity. And with diversity, you end up coming up with conflict, because one belief of the opposite of the other, that is diversity, but that is a conflict as well.
I said, why not? That sounds like relativism. This is the theological term, means anything goes. I said, I never said pluralism is relativism. I never said that. They said, but this sounds like it because you say anything goes. I said, no, let me give a metaphor. I used it at top universities here. It's a very powerful metaphor. Suppose I want to go to the center, that table. I go in that direction. Suppose she wants to go to the center, she'll point in that direction. Suppose he wants to go to the center, he'll point in that direction. Suppose that gentleman doing the camera wants to come to the center, he'll come in that direction. Every one of us will have a different prescription regarding going to the center. Even the neighbor next to us will have a different prescription than ours. So when we compare our prescription, we must say, oh, anything goes. We all seem to have different prescriptions. I say, no, this is not pluralism. This is not relativism. Basically, we are saying, because we have a different starting point in our spiritual journey, we will be using different prescription for making spiritual progress. Allow for it. And it's a very powerful metaphor I use. I say, suppose I'm sincere about my own tradition, and I want to progress to the center, and he is very sincere, he wants to progress to the center. As we move towards the center, we suddenly find affinity for each other. We seem to get closer to each other. While if somebody is moving away from his center, he finds it difficult to relate to people of other religion as well as people of his own religion. Because pluralism holds the answer of how people of different religions can coexist with full dignity. This is not a political ploy, community cohesion. This is a political ploy. No, we assert different individuals, even people who do not believe in any religion, are unfolding spiritually in the mode that suits them. Allow for it. This is what I mean by spiritual democracy. And such a powerful term, because it resolves the issue of how people of many different religions can coexist without thumping each other. Secondly, it resolves another issue, how people of the same religion can coexist with each other. Because we notice this all the time. People in the same religion are blowing each other up. We say, why? See, there is a variation. This is the way I think of spirituality. This is the way you think of spirituality. This is your way, this is my way. We allow you to progress spiritually in the mode that suits you, my friend. Don't impose. Go to your destination rather than fight over the prescription. This is the central feature that we belong to, that we come with.
And yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's the fact that it's the, I guess, the extremism of different religions. When you look at a lot of Abrahamic religion, it's quite extreme and non-accepting, but you gotta, I guess, maybe understand where they came from. Maybe. I'm, again, not a master or even know so much about the religion, but it's just my understanding of, in a sense, human a little bit. Every religion needs to get strong. And how does it get strong? How does it control its people? Is by saying, I am the correct religion. Following any other religion is wrong. You'll be damned for all eternity. That's why there's hell. So if you believe in my religion, you'll go to heaven. If you believe in anyone else's religion, you go to hell and burn forever. You get eternal damnation, eternal torture. That's how to get people to convert. And in the past, mind you. And today, I'm not sure what it is. And also in the past, you know, the reason why they promote big families and stuff is because, well, the more people you have, the more people you have to fight with. Or the more people you have to fight for your beliefs. You have to kick out every other beliefs, otherwise it's going to oppose your own beliefs. So most religions have been kind of exclusive. Like you have to believe in our religion, or you're a blasphemer or Satanist or whatever it is. And that's the one thing about the last video about why Hindu gods are so human. In there he does explain a lot about how some of the Abrahamic religions are very much in salvation. Basically, you have to believe in us to be saved. You have to follow our rules, our religion to be saved. Any other religion is wrong. You'll burn in hell for eternity. And that's how they control people. And the fact that a lot of people back in the day could not read, and therefore I can read from the holy book that their deity or deities have said, and when you can read this book, you'll understand what the Almighty has to say. But since you can't read, I will read it for you. Therefore, I have control over you. And this is one thing that the one thing I really like about Hinduism is the sheer fact that there may be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a very popular thing for me, but I'm not sure yet. I still have to watch more about it. But the thing I like about Hinduism is the fact that they accept all ways. You can believe what you want. Everyone has their own spiritual path. Accept them for who they are and accept their beliefs. So long, again, this is the same beliefs I have. It's like, hey, look, you can believe in what you want, you know, as long as we're all peaceful, having fun, and you don't force it upon anyone. Hey, by all means.
I don't think any other
Sorry, it's the same path that I follow as well. Just in general, like, I don't care what you believe in necessarily, so long as you don't force it on anyone. I care what you believe in a sense, but in terms of religion, I don't really care. You can follow your religion, and if it makes you happy, I want you to continue to do it. If it guides your path to life to make you a better person, by all means, please continue. And I'll talk to you about it. You know, I'm curious about stuff because sometimes I can take stuff from certain religion or certain ways of life that I can incorporate into my own life to make my own life better, and to hopefully spread that to other people to make their lives better.
Religion can come anywhere near this idea, very crucial idea. That's one of the misunderstandings that Hindus have. Sometimes, you know, I don't mean it in a bad way. We say that Hinduism is a way of life. It sounds like a very nice, warm way of saying that, you know, we incorporate Hindu ideas in our routine life. That's what it actually means.
Yes.
But the theologians are very naughty. They say, Mr. Lakhani, do you know what it means? It means there is no structured religion at all. You are just a way of life, just a cultural phenomena, dandiya and, you know, tikas and ding ting tong. That's it. There's no structured religion behind you. So when you say a way of life, be careful. It is misinterpreted. We are a very structured, very well kind of reconciled system of thought. I'll show you the variation we possess. We say you can make spiritual progress in a monotheist mode. We agree. Majority of Hindus are monotheist. They like to think of ultimate reality as Vishnu or Shiva or Mother Goddess. We allow for it. So one of the ways of making spiritual progress is monotheism. We agree with that. Some will adopt henotheism, it's a bit of a hierarchy between the gods. So be it. We allow for that way of making spiritual progress. We also allow for making spiritual progress in a non-theistic mode, without reference to a theos. This sounds far frightening, Mr. Lakhani. No theos, no God in the heaven. How do you become religious? We say what you are searching with the highest heaven is your essential nature. You can think of the ultimate reality not sitting in the heaven and cracking a whip, but in a way looking at you through all these eyes here and now. Here is your living God in front of you. So this is the second approach, is non-theistic Hinduism. This is a very central feature of Hinduism, one of the most important flavors of Hinduism, seeing God not in the heaven, but in humanity. Now you can see this idea will relate extremely well with a country like Britain, because here one of the best things that you notice is dignity of human beings. In the name of a social democracy, in the name of an egalitarian society, this nation has given tremendous highest dignity to human beings. See, what we are preaching, what we are thinking about is already put into practice in this nation. So we sit very well with each other. And my job is simply to marry the theory with the practice.
But yeah, again, what he just repeated there about the fact that the non-theistic belief in Hinduism is mine. Like, I don't see each other. I don't see ourselves as gods, but I interpret it a little bit of a different way. That, I mean, regardless of whether we're gods or not, or we're animals or not, it's just the sheer fact that we must have respect for each other, but also understand that I do believe in treat others the way you want to be treated. So while if you disrespect me, I will not respect you. If you hurt me, I will definitely defend myself. But other than that, I'll treat you like anyone else, and if we become friends, that's great. If not, then I'll still treat you. I guess there's a base level of treatment for everyone, and whether it go up and down, all based on our interaction.
And this is a very important aspect. You can make spiritual progress without reference to a theos. There's a third aspect that is even more stronger. And when I do talks with many universities, do assemblies at Eton, etc., and when I mention the third pathway for making spiritual progress, they start applauding before I finish. I tell you why. I tell them, you can make spiritual progress in a monotheist mode if your parents want it and you want it, good for you, my friend. You can make spiritual progress in a non-theistic mode if that appeals to you. We say the third thing. We say you can make spiritual progress in a non-religious guise without reference to a religion, even Hinduism. Oh, we never heard that. I say the crucial aspect of our tradition is this. We say, you see, any activity you take on which makes you very one-pointed, very disciplined and very focused, any field, science, art, music, dance, drama, poetry, literature, any activity you take on which makes you one-pointed and focused will reveal a spiritual dimension to your underpinning. It reveals itself. That's why when you see a musician engrossed in this particular art, he's getting a thrill, and the thrill comes from within. Because he becomes so one-pointed, he is able to never suss out his true nature as the spirit. So we say you can be spiritual without reference to a theos, without reference to a religion. And I tell you, when I talk like this, majority of people that you're going to come across in the street outside, especially the youngsters, if you ask them, are you religious? They'll say, at Eton they tell me, Mr. Lakhani, I just take my name as a Christian or a Buddhist or a Jew because that is the tradition I acknowledge, that I come from that. I don't believe in that enterprise. They believe in God delusion rather than God. This is reality. I'm telling you, in some of the schools that I go to, top schools, 90% of the youngsters put their hands up as atheists. So this is the world that we live in. So if you say, no, let's sit in our little cocoon and we go to our temples and churches and mosques, it doesn't work anymore. See the world outside? It is moving very quickly towards a non-religious approach to life. And suddenly Mr. Lakhani is talking to them their language. You can become spiritual using the mode that suits your own temperament. Suppose you like science, go for it. Look at the depth of science. It will take you to the same destination.
Sorry. So he was talking about how a lot of people ascribe to certain religions, not because they actually believe. I believe he said this, not because they believe in it, but because, in a sense, that's their culture. They're either their parents, their city, their country, and not because they believe in it, not because they want to go to it, just because their parents happen to be it. And I was like, well, I'll adopt the beliefs, not because I truly believe in them, which is kind of, I mean, it's starting to grow where I do see a lot of people say, oh, I'm I'm a whatever religion. It's like, oh, do you go every Sunday? No, they just identify themselves as that and don't do anything with the church or anything like that. It's like kind of weird. Why do you assign yourself that identity and not actually prescribe to the religion itself? But I mean, I guess atheism itself may be growing just because people are thinking a little bit more, and I think religion in general are probably trying to adapt to it, to be more inclusive, to see where the young folks are going in a sense. Because, when religion is so strict, a lot of young people is like, that's not right. My friend is like this, my friend is like that, and they don't accept them because they're like this. That's not the kind of religion I want to follow. So I do see that in the United States where religion is changing. It quite made a hard change recently within the past 5 years. And I think, for one, it's a good thing because they become more accepting. They open up their eyes and start accepting people for who they are, and not because they ascribe to the religion or because they deny them the acceptance because of what they are. It's like, no, you cannot be in our group because you're this, and we don't accept this kind of person. Or now religious people are being like, well, it's fine. They find some passage in the Bible or in whatever holy book they have. It's like, oh yeah, right here it says that it's perfectly fine. Religion has to adapt, or otherwise it's going to die.
This is the breadth of vision of pluralism. You see why this idea is so powerful, so crucial, that the world has to embrace it sooner or later. I'm saying sooner the better. Because if the world starts embracing this idea, there are many different pathways, allow for it, then this skirmish we see in the name of religion will disappear, will be discarded, saying this is nonsense, we don't need to do that anymore. And this is the powerful message. That is why I'm very pleased that I'm speaking from the mother of social democracy.
Sorry, whenever he said we should accept everyone's paths, again, so long as they're not destructive, absolutely. The path that he was, the thing that he was saying that reminds me is the fact that, again, if you want to believe in whatever gods, or whatever religion, if you're doing that to better yourself, by all means, please do. I'm not going to stop you from it. I just hope you don't say, I am right because of this in the book, or I don't know, start forcing it on other people and say, you're going to be eternally damned or whatever. It's kind of crazy. Again, so long as you do it peacefully, you follow your own ways and you don't force it on anyone, please do.
A message that comes from the mother of spiritual democracy is a very powerful message, very powerful message. This is just one aspect I wanted to draw your attention to. There's a second aspect that most Hindus are not even aware of. Hinduism comes in two flavors. You say flavors? What? Chocolate, vanilla? What flavors?
What about strawberry?
One flavor is monotheism. Focus on its ultimate reality. In order for you to polarize your mind to be spiritual, think of the ultimate reality as this all-powerful, all-knowing, all-compassionate God. Focus on it. Why? Because it will, in a way, focus your attention to be spiritual using that particular mode that suits your temperament. Good for you. We don't undermine any of these approaches. So we recognize this, but we say the following now. This is a personality-oriented Hinduism. And you've got lots of different personalities. I like Vishnu, I like Shiva, I like Mother God. Good for you. Anyone, equally good. But then there's a second dimension, a second, if you like, flavor that Hinduism comes with. And this is the original flavor of Hinduism. It is called principle-oriented Hinduism, not personality-oriented. You'll be surprised. The original scriptures essentially were talking about the underpinning to this reality as something non-material and manifesting itself with the creation as living things in humanity. And that principle-oriented Hinduism is a way Hindus have actually lost their way. They can't relate to it. That's the most crucial thing that we need to approach. Look, if I ask a youth today, are you religious? He said, no. I said, you don't believe in anything? He said, no, I don't believe in anything. I said, do you believe in yourself? Will he say, yes. See, I caught you. What this principle-oriented Hinduism is saying is that your essential nature is essentially the thing that you're searching for in the upper heavens. You are essentially the spirit, my friend. That's why you're asserting, I believe in myself. Then you say, but how do you reconcile this principle-oriented Hinduism with these personalities, all these colorful personalities? This is the way we reconcile. We say knowingly or unknowingly. In order for us to relate to, you see, we are all in search of our identity. Who the heck are we? We didn't ask to be born here. What are we doing here? Who are we? This is the big question. We are in search of identity. And in our struggle, we kind of hang on to some gods or goddesses or some religious ideas.
And for that question, it's like, oh, who are we? Who am I? I mean, to me, I get that, actually, I do. But to me, I'm like, not necessarily who cares who I am. I am who I am, whatever that means. Who I am is how I act, what I say, what I do. Nothing else really, I don't think. I mean, I guess what I eat as well, but that is part of who I am. Oh, well, part of the material me. So basically, who I am is what I say, what I do, what I act, my actions, my inactions. That's who I am. That is the true you. Well, in my sense. I mean, what you wear, not necessarily who you are, but it is part of who you are. What you eat. I don't know, I hope that makes sense. Because a lot of people say, you know, they don't know who they are, but they got to realize their actions are who they are also. It's any kind of actions that come out of them is a reflection of who they are as a person. So if you're a bad person, it will reflect out. And actually, that was spoken from a wisdom video, I'm sure. I've heard of it. I can't remember who spoke. I probably said Guru, actually. But I do believe in that. Like, who you are as a person, it reflects on your action. If you're a good person, generally, you'll do good things. That's who you are.
But the Hindu teaching says, my friend, the thing that is endearing in every living thing, especially in human beings, what are these things, endearing things? We have compassion for our near and dear ones. We might like our pets, we might like our friends, our family. A little bit of compassion flowing out. The second thing we are always in search of knowledge. We want to suss out what's around us. We want to be aware of our environment. The second feature of all living things, even a single cell being is trying to make sense of the world it finds itself in. The third and the most important aspect to every living thing, here I'm a physicist and Richard Dawkins is a biologist, and I part company with Richard Dawkins here. The most endearing feature that defines a living thing is this. It is not in compliance with the forces of nature it finds itself in, it is in defiance of it. If you wanted to believe Richard Dawkins, then all living things are nothing but accidents of evolution, just lumps of carbon that got wound up through accident of evolution. That's why you're special, Mr. Lakhani. I said, no. There's something else that is using this material frame to manifest itself, and that is not coming out of matter. This is a very important aspect. So we say the thing that is most crucial in all living things is that it wants to be empowered. It doesn't like to be pushed around. Think about yourself. Who likes to be pushed around? Even
that's kind of the same thing in my thoughts, is the fact that it's not necessarily it's you fighting back against nature. It sounds like it's rough, like you're literally punching nature in the face, but it's more along the lines of surviving, because it's not necessarily. It's kind of like saying, "Oh, nature's trying to kill you." In a sense, yes, but not. It doesn't have a vendetta against you. It's not like it put a bounty on your head. It's like, let's go ahead and kill Brian today, and was it last week was about 500? Let's go ahead and raise it to 501. That should be enough. But no, it's just the fact that you have to, in a sense, your body's constantly fighting germs and bacteria and all that, without you having to think about it. Your skin is part of your defensive mechanism, but anyways, it seems harsh, but it's true. And of course, when you develop an intellect, I believe you do want to aspire. I don't know if organisms inspire to be greater than themselves, especially animals. I in my opinion, animals are mostly instinctual. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not a biologist, so I wouldn't know. But in my opinion, just based on my experience, they're instinctual mostly, and I think, well, they're instinctual mostly. I definitely need to learn more about that, I'm sure, but there's just too many things in the world to learn.
Little single cell being, you probably won't agree. You won't play ball. The definition of a living thing is, it is not in compliance with the physical forces, it is in defiance of it. It wants to stand aside and control it, don't be pushed around by it. The best example is us here. Thousands of years ago, we are shuddering in the caves. When the lightning came, we say, oh, God sending messages. Now we say nothing doing. We know what this is. Rather than be at the mercy of forces of nature, we will harness nature and light up our offices, light up the parliament. This is a sign of a living thing. It doesn't play ball with the physical forces. It is very keen to harness the forces of nature and sit above it. This is a sign of a living thing, becoming empowered. You see, so this is what the Hindu is saying. See, my friend, the features that you already possess, the endearing features, by the way, are in a way, is what you are trying to, in a way, link up with or promote in a greater sense by saying, let me think of an ultimate reality who is all-powerful, all-knowing, compassionate, because these are your features. But you then exaggerate them, not just 10 times, not 100 times, but infinitely, and say, oh Lord, you are all-knowing, all-compassionate.
Yes, 100% agree. Even in the things I notice around here, there are some extremists. Again, I should note that is that a lot of extremist people. You kind of see it in movies, but I do believe it to be true. I watch some videos where like true videos of what has happened, and there are some extreme people who take their beliefs too far, and the deity they believe in, they believe the deity is telling them to do something, when in reality they are telling themselves that. And it's kind of like, I guess, in terms of Hinduism, that there's so many gods because everyone creates their own god. It's a pathway. And same thing with some other religions where they all believe in the same God, but some of them take it too far to where whatever they believe is what God believes. So therefore, whatever they think is actually what they think. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of this on the spot. When they say like, "Oh man, that person's bad. I need to harm him," and they go pray and they say, "Do I need to do this?" And they hear a voice in their head, or they see some type of sign, and they think it's from their deity, but in reality it's them talking to themselves, like, oh yes, that's why I believe in you, because I think like you. In reality, they're thinking to themselves, and they do extreme things in the world. I try to be vague, all-inclusive in a sense, but it's generally extremes take it really far, and they hear voices in their head. They just hear themselves, and they think it's their God, and then their God reflects their action, when in reality their action is their God.
All powerful. These are our human features. We exaggerate them to infinity and plonk into that chap, God. So far so good. Then we get Richard Dawkins saying, hang on, come here, my friend. If your God is all powerful, all knowing, and all compassionate, look around the world. Look at the suffering all around. Not only the suffering in the human kingdom, suffering in the living kingdom. It'll make your hair stand up. While we are talking, trillions of living things are tearing each other apart while they're alive. They're tearing each other up, living off each other. Trillions. What have they done wrong? What kind of universe has this God created? It's all powerful, all knowing, all compassionate. So you will ask, you go to your God and say, Lord, Richard Dawkins is bothering me. I love you so much. Please answer him. What will he do? He'll shrug his shoulder. You made me like this, you answer. See, this is the depth of Hindu teaching. This is principle-oriented Hinduism that takes on the challenges that come from rationality, whether it's from biological lobby or from a science lobby. So this is the grand prize. The principle-oriented Hinduism, in a way, is able to tackle the serious challenges all religions face, especially we are ready for, we love it. We said, you projected him like this, that's why you can't answer. You sort it out now. So they say, oh, God's Leela, he's playing what play? This horrible play, bloodthirsty chap. So this is, if you like, the principle-oriented Hinduism, which is very powerful. Why am I saying this? Today, the world that we live in prefers this principle-oriented Hinduism. Whenever I do assemblies at Eton College, the headmaster told Mr. Lakhani, be careful, these chaps are very sharp cookies. They're very gentle, but they'll tear you apart. Michael Heseltine came here last week, and they grouped together and ganged up against him and tore him apart, and he was red in the face. Be aware, these guys are very tricky chaps. I said, no problem, but my condition is you sit in the front row and see what I do to your boys. So, you know, the headmaster, Anthony Little, sat in the front row, and I started my story about this particular vision that comes out of Hinduism. It's called spiritual humanism. You are more than matter. You are essentially something dramatically different from matter, manifesting in this material frame. And I'm telling you true story. Even before I finish, they started applauding. Forget about challenging me. They have never heard stuff like this. You are essentially the spark of divine, my friend. This is the height. No other religion would give this kind of height to the individual. You are the spark of divine. What a wonderful message. So what we are searching with the heaven is looking through us through all these lives now, is here and now, looking at us through all these eyes. Seeing and serving God in humanity is the teaching of this principle-oriented Hinduism. But let me give you a health warning. It's nice to be very honest and down to earth. We are the best theoreticians in this field, in the world, and the poorest practitioners. Good.
The best what? Well, I'm going to rewind that. I didn't quite hear what he said there. 224.
In the world, and the poorest practitioners.
Didn't rewind it far enough.
Go to India today. We are the best theoreticians in this field, in the world.
Theoreticians? I have no idea. I wish I had CC. Even if we got it wrong, I would have been able to maybe piece what he said and what was misspelled correctly.
And the poorest practitioners.
I got the poorest part.
Go to India today. You think there's dignity of human beings? Oh, everybody sit on the dignity of human is crushed underfoot. If you're in the lower rung of society, there is no room for you. They'll suck your life and lifeblood out of you and spit you out. This is reality. So for us to be sitting here, where we see this nation dignifying humanity to this level, they are practicing what we are preaching. So my job is very easy, to marry the theory with the practice. So when I talk like this at Eton College, you can see why the youngsters immediately start applauding before I finish. They recognize the potency of this idea, spiritual humanism. You are more than something that matter has created. The reason why the British Humanist Association is struggling to get youth into, you'll be surprised, you think they're all like atheism, they must join them. Because it appears stodgy and lifeless. The version that I come from, spiritual humanism, is not stodgy or lifeless. It gives them life, it charges them up. We are special, my friend, we are special. It's not an arrogant statement. Look, it's getting very heavy, I must lighten up a little bit. You see, I said, let me give a very simple example of why this is not an arrogant comment. A little boy, a 5-year-old boy, Hindu boy, came to the Hinduism class, and he was told, my friend, today you're learning the high philosophy of Hinduism, which is is a principle-oriented Hinduism. You're going to learn that today, my boy. The boy said, oh, okay. You'll be a philosopher, said the teacher. The boy said, good stuff, I like this. He said, my boy, let me give the height of Hindu philosophy. What you thought was there is your essential nature. Tattvamasi, thou art that, my boy, you are that. The 5-year-old boy said, this is good stuff here. I should have come to this class long time ago. I knew there was something special about me. This guy just affirmed it. I'm God. I should have joined the class long time ago.
I will say this. Like, growing up in America, some portion of my life, like the Hinduism way is actually something I wish I was I wish it was teached over here, let me say it that way. Just because the things that I believe in now is very much coincides with a lot of the Eastern philosophy, let me just put it that way. And the reason why I took world religions because I wanted to know what other religions are out there and what their beliefs are. Again, I believe it was taught by an Indian lady. But I don't know for sure. I know she wore the traditional garb and had the red dot on her forehead. But the thing that honestly, the only thing I remember from her class is the Buddhism. Life is suffering. Giving birth is suffering. And that just kind of really stuck with me. And it's true. I mean, which makes me develop this idea that everything in life, all the knowledge we obtain, we had to pay a price for it. I mean, now we can read a book and say, oh, if you touch this tree, you'll get you'll get itchy. Was it poison ivy? Well, how do we figure that one out? So basically the price was paid to obtain that knowledge. How do we know fire hurts? Well, someone put their hand all over the fire and freaking got burnt. It's like, hey, look, I got burnt by touching the fire. Don't touch the fire. I paid the price. But still, people still, continue to pay the price today. That's what I call learning the hard way. I try to learn the easy way by observation and listening and watching. So information is obtained through paying price, not monetary, of course, not necessarily. Some people do pay money to obtain knowledge, college and whatnot. But yes, and in a sense that's suffering, because again, if you get burnt, you suffer to learn the knowledge that fire is hot and could kill you.
The boy went home in a very arrogant mood, went in the kitchen. There's Hindu mommy cooking as usual. He opened the cupboard, took out that expensive piece of crockery reserved for a special visitor, and he waved it in front of his mommy. He said, "Mommy, watch, mommy," and he dropped it deliberately. The plate fell on the floor and broke into 1,000 pieces. The mommy is Hindu mommy is brown in color normally, turned pink, then she turned red, lifted her arm and came near the boy. The boy said, "Stop, mommy, stop. Mommy, I've been to Hinduism class today. Do you know who I am?" But when the mommy says, this cheeky fellow comes, breaks bread, says, "Who am I?" So I tell you, "Who are you?" she asked in the room. The boy said, "Mommy, like it or not, believe it or not, I am God." And now fortunately, mommy had been to Hinduism class too. She said, "My next question to my boy is, who am I?" The boy learned his lines well. He said, "Mommy, like it or not, believe it or not, you too are God." Mommy said, "Yes, we are making progress. You are baby God, I am mommy God." There's a third lesson you don't come to, which says that when baby God misbehaves, mommy God has to do special worship ceremony, aarti of the baby God. The boy was getting worried. What ceremony? She has to bring the baby God near, turn him round and smack his bottom without leaving a mark, otherwise social service God will come. I'm saying,
man, what's wrong with these people? Why aren't they laughing? maybe their joke meter's a little low or something. Or maybe mine's just too easy.
Something very high philosophic in a very light-hearted manner. Why? This forms the foundation of ethics and morality in our tradition, which is principle-oriented. He says the reason why the terms of engagement remain the same, the mommy will smack the little chap, and yet you spiritualize both of them. The terms of engagement remain, and yet you spiritualize both of them. So this is what he's saying. There is a God in the robber, and there's a God in the policeman. And the policeman, God will capture the robber God and put him in behind bars. The terms of engagement remain, and yet you spiritualize the underpinning to everybody. This is the height. And why is it so important? Suppose you ask about ethics to people of other religion. They say, there's a God looking over my shoulder, so I have to behave well with other people, his creation, otherwise he gets very angry with me. That's why I behave well, don't hurt people, because God is watching me, keeping score. Tick, tick, yes, I saw you. Suppose you went to the British Humanist Association for atheists. They say, well, how do you have your ethics, morality, where do you get it from? It's very easy. Mr. Lakhani is called the golden rule.
Yes. I follow the golden rule, which is treat others the way you want to be treated. And don't tell me he's going to ask, well, where'd you get that golden rule? It's like, well, that's pretty easy, If I treat others nasty, I expect them to treat me nasty too, so it makes sense.
Do unto others as you would like them to do to you. Sounds so clever, hoo-hoo. I say, not good enough. This is called commerce, business. I don't step on your toes, you don't step on my toes.
Not necessarily. I mean, I generally treat people friendly, and if they're friendly to me, I mean, I guess it can be seen like commerce a little bit, but I mean, it makes sense. Well, let's see what he has to say about that. But I mean, obviously, if you continue to give someone who treats you like trash everything, then he's going to use you, and eventually something bad could happen to you, not because of the person, but because you are too giving in nature.
This is still not good enough for the Hindu theology, Hindu philosophy. At best, this particular golden rule will tell you how to live with each other. What we are teaching is not just learning how to live with each other, but learning to live for each other. This is the depth of Hindu teaching. It comes out of the spiritual, this principle-oriented Hinduism. Personality-oriented Hinduism will say, focus on a God. He's telling you, behave well. The principle-oriented Hinduism will say, you have no choice. You are stuck with others. The same thing that's sparkling here is sparkling there. You have no choice but to help each other because the same one is looking out through there, struggling there.
Well, again, treating others the way you want to be treated. If everyone understood that, it's like, hey, I'm treating someone bad. I expect to be treated bad. Then if he realizes that, he'll say, I need to stop treating people bad and start treating them with kindness so that I will be treated kind as well. So it's not necessarily commerce. It kind of is, but kind of not. Just because, again, if everyone understood the golden rule, then I would think that most people would not treat everyone, unkindly. Because, hey, look, no one really wants to be treated unkindly. So everyone will start treating each other kindly, hopefully.
So the best, if you like, the foundation of ethics and morality comes from this principle-oriented Hinduism. That's why I say it's a very powerful thought. I just touched on two ideas, religious pluralism and spiritual humanism. And I tell you one thing, when I do debates at universities, the boys say, Mr. Lakhani, why don't you take on Richard Dawkins? He's promoting humanism. I say, yes, I try to tell him, let's talk together about humanism. I present spiritual humanism, you present materialistic humanism, see who wins. Let's go for it. Do you know what the boys tell me? Mr. Lakhani, you will win. I said, why? He says, because you are a physicist, he is a mere biologist. You will win. And let me just touch on this part as my conclusion. You see, my background is theoretical physics. You'll be surprised that I talk Hinduism. So my background is nothing but quantum physics and theoretical physics. I tell you the three places where Hinduism will make a major contribution in the field of science of today. I'm not talking about Ayurveda. They're fine, something much deeper. First is the issue of cosmology. See the universe, they call the Big Bang theory. And this is called space and time unfolding, saying, and the universe comes into being. Sounds like a very clever thing, but a question still arose. What triggered space and time to unfold? What was the trigger? And the answer from modern cosmologists, whether it's Stephen Hawking, whoever, is no, we don't know. We just know it's spontaneous, but we don't know who pressed the buzzer. And the theologians say, I think God did it. It doesn't work. The answer comes from our tradition. Look how ancient and powerful the tradition is. It says, three things unfold for creation to come into being. So three things, what are they? This is very ancient teaching. He says, Desh, Kal, Nimit, space, time, and causation. When they stretch their arms, creation comes into being. So this is Hinduism. See how well it sits with the cosmological model, Big Bang. But it goes a stage further than modern cosmology, because cosmology doesn't know why. Hinduism tells them the answer why. This is what it says. He said, didn't I tell you that three things unfold? The concept of cause and effect comes up with the Big Bang. So you can't say who caused the Big Bang. It follows Big Bang. It doesn't precede Big Bang. So you can't ask who caused the Big Bang. This question will not be answerable. Just as if you ask Stephen Hawking, what was there before the Big Bang? He will say, don't ask, there was no time. If you ask Hindu, what caused the Big Bang? He said, don't ask, there was no what before the Big Bang. I'm just showing you one flavor that comes out of modern Hinduism and the physics of today.
And I'm sorry, I want to pause there real quick. And was it Neil deGrasse Tyson? He was asked that question. It's like, what happened? What happened before the Big Bang? And he was saying that's not important. And it's kind of weird for him to say that, or for me anyway, for me to hear that. I mean, it's interesting to know, but he points out the fact that we may never know, and which is truth, and which is exactly what he's saying too. It's just kind of funny though. It's like there's no way to explain what happened before the Big Bang. Well, as far as we can tell right now. And they're both kind of pointing in the same direction, as in we need to stop worrying about what happened before the Big Bang or what caused the Big Bang, because we probably will never know. We just need to focus on the future.
I won't take up any more time, but it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I'm very grateful to Nitiji for inviting me. Thank you, my friends.
He talks like I mean, he talks like me. He talks like really fast, and I need to slow down because I know I do speak really quickly, and sometimes my words get difficult to understand. And he does that too, especially words I've never heard before, and he speaks it really quick. I'm like, was he saying English words and just mash them together like a lot of people who talk really quickly? Or is that actually a Hindu word or a different word that he's trying to say, and he said it really quickly and I don't know? But anyways, so Hinduism, the way of life, I do believe that to be true. The thing that fascinates me about it is just the sheer fact of how accepting it is, how you don't have to follow any necessarily rules. If you want to believe in a deity, deities, or none, that's great, that's fantastic. And it's accepting, and that's, again, I've said this many other times in other videos. In Western, at least in the Western world, generally speaking, the religions there are not accepting in the sense of other religions. If there's a Christian group and a Catholic group, they'll accept each other. It's weird considering that they have different beliefs, and it's kind of weird because they're trying to, I want to say necessarily converting each other, but I don't know, it's kind of odd that you have two different religious groups commingling in a sense, or accepting each other. I don't know why I say that's weird, but it is. Merely because it's two different teachings, they're both in a sense different religions, and both are very strict in a sense. Whereas Hinduism, even though you believe in a god or a path, that is accepted. Whereas in I guess Abrahamic religion, they can accept your path in a sense, but in a sense your path is wrong because whatever path they follow is the correct path. But they can accept your path. Whereas Hinduism, all path is correct, except for the harmful and terrible paths, and that is amazing. Again, that is mind-blowing to me, honestly. Anyways, that's my reaction to Hinduism, the way of life. Talk at Westminster, J. Lakhani, Hindu Academy. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.